In today's episode of the Motorhome Matt podcast,
we unpack how safe is your motorhome electrical system and ask the question is, do you need an earth?
In the news, Campervan Campout starts this week.
And we answer your questions on more cat pee smells, toll booths in Europe and taking breathalyzers to France.
Welcome to the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Industry insights and expert advice for the world of motorhomes, caravans and campervans, brought to you by thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Please remember to follow on your favourite podcast app, or if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe and the little bell. Do it now.
In the news this week, guess who has a campervan?
Have you got one? Have you got one? Have you done it?
No, not Campervan Keith. No, it is Caddy Maddie. Caddy Maddie, that's it. That's right, haven't it?
Caddy Maddie, yeah. Maddie, who produces the podcast, has got herself a little van. Woohoo!
An ex-British gas blue van, a Caddy.
They are a lovely electric blue. Thank you to everyone that offered their used VW Caddy or Berlingos to Maddie for sale, but she has found one. She thought randomly, and it turns out I know the lady that sold it to her. They are a small world. So she found one quite locally, and it's a lovely little van, and it's already been boarded out and lined, and it's got a leisure battery and a 240-volt system, so it's ready for furniture.
So no longer Motorhome Maddie, she is Caddy Maddie from here on in. Martin on your team also has a very nice VW camper.
So Martin, the whole team are getting infected by this. So Martin, who you may have seen on the podcast, he's the guy with the impressive beard and moustache.
Oh, Martin.
That Martin, yeah. He was 30-odd years at Next and is our commercial ops manager here at that leisure shop. And he and his wife, Jules, have bought a really lovely VW T6 from a friend of theirs that's been converted, and they are loving getting away with their basset hounds. If he could, he'd take the cat and the horse as well, but so far he's not found a campsite that can accommodate all of those.
You just strap the horse to the back.
He put the horse box on the...
Just run along down the motorway.
He's got a tow bar and they've got a horse trailer. Yeah. He's going off on holiday this year and taking the whole family with him. Horses, dogs, cats, you name it, and chickens. He said he's going to take the chickens as well.
Fucking hell.
That is a campsite I won't be visiting. Not while he's there.
Our show feature this week, Campervan Campout is on.
Absolutely, yeah. It's on from the 1st to the 3rd of May 2026. A real highlight show for me in the year. This is more of a festival than it is a trade show. It's at the Southern Showground in Ardingly.
It's very posh around there.
It is very lovely. Some of the houses you drive by to get to it. So it's camping and day visitors to the show. And loads of live music going on throughout the weekend. The Advice Centre is there again. There's wellness clinics, foraging, axe throwing, all sorts going on throughout the weekend. It's a fantastic family affair. Dogs welcome too. And in the Advice Centre is loads of free talks, loads of free advice. It's a brilliant environment for learning. And on the Sunday, we've got the Creators Day, which is going to be great fun, where we've got a number of social media, YouTube, video, photography, journalists, experts presenting their wares, and a networking event where if you are looking to create a social channel of some sort, you can come along and meet with a load of people who've been doing it for years. So yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. You can find out more about all of Warner's shows on our website. Just head to mhmp.info/shows, and there's always a discount on day tickets. Just use the code Motorhome Matt.
Our main topic this week, motorhomes that are not earthed. What are we talking about, Matt? What does that mean?
Well, this is a question that keeps coming up because a motorhome or campervan is not connected to earth.
Do you mean electrically?
Electrically, yeah. It's got 4 rubber tyres on the floor, isn't it?
Yep.
So yet our homes are connected to earth. There's a rod that goes in the ground and the house is earth, or you see the earth wires connected to the pipes.
Yep, you do see that a lot, don't you?
Yep. You do. So I've been asked this question a lot, and Mark from BlueFix is a guy I've got on the end of the phone that I can ring, who's an expert in batteries and mains installs into motorhomes and campervans. BlueFix are fantastic at doing all this stuff. And I started picking Mark's brain about portable power packs, which are called double insulated, because they are not connected to Earth, are they? They're just a plastic box with a battery in, and it gives you power.
So what's the benefit of connecting to Earth?
Well, there you are. That's the question. Do you need to? Do you need to stick a rod out of the van and shove it in the ground and connect it to your van? So I asked the question of Mark, and we spent several hours prior to recording going down loads and loads of rabbit holes, and we realised that we couldn't cover all of this topic off. So we just focused on this topic of Earth. Mark, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
This is a long time overdue.
It is a long time overdue.
We have stood on many a stage together,
Yep, we have.
doing all sorts of Q&As and talks and so on. So it's great to have you here. We're talking about earthing.
Yeah.
So today you are going to keep me grounded. Ba-bum.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
What we're going to try.
Thick enough, I don't think.
Something's thick enough. So let's talk about the importance of earthing. Firstly, what is it?
Well, earthing is designed to keep you safe. It's designed to take errant current away from you as a user of an electrical appliance, and sort of keep things where it needs to be rather than going through you as a person. It's and it's part of an electrical circuit. It's how electricity moves from one place to another.
Okay.
It's generated on your live or your L1, as it were, and then it goes through the appliance back down to ground, to earth, where it dissipates.
So earthing matters then because it's there to keep you safe.
It's there part to keep you safe, and it's part of the circuit.
Right, okay. Now on my house, I've got a really old farmhouse where I live, and outside the back door is a metal rod going into the ground, and there's a green and yellow cable coiled onto it, and it goes into the building, and then that's my earth for the house.
That is, yeah.
When I'm in my camper van, I'm on 4 tyres, and I'm insulated from the ground.
Yeah.
Why do I not need an earth rod? Is that what you call it? A grounding stake?
A grounding stake, yeah.
Why don't I need one of those to earth the van?
Because the two scenarios. If the van is connected to a campsite power supply on a hookup, that's where your earth's coming from in that instance.
By the cable?
By the cable, yes. Yeah. So the power's being generated external to the vehicle. It's coming along that cable into the vehicle, being consumed in the vehicle, then the earth return goes out. It'll go back to the post, or there could be a grounding system in the main building, wherever that may be.
But I'm connected essentially to the national grid.
You are, yeah.
So that's
absolutely.
mains power.
That's mains power, yeah. And when you're hooked up to the grid.
Now I've got a question about mains power. I refer to it as 240 volt.
Yeah.
And someone recently on YouTube said it's 230 volt, Matt. Now, which is it?
It's in this country currently it's 240. It's anywhere between, I think, 225, 228 up to 250 volts is the range.
But
in
the
this
UK
country.
is 240.
It is
isn't
240.
See, I was right.
But it's changing.
It's changing.
So most of the continent is 230 volt.
Right.
And I think we're going to be sort of joining that.
So that
shortly,
our
as I
standard
understand
voltage
it.
is going to be 230 volt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying.
No
Let's call
worries.
it mains voltage.
Mains voltage, yeah.
So this is what we understand. We have the power we have at home, but in our 12 volt system,
Yeah.
I've only on my 12 volt. What's my earth there?
Well, it's the negative on the battery.
Right.
So the 12 volt system, it works, I suppose. So it's DC current for a start, but the power comes from the battery through the wires, and then goes back to the battery.
So it goes through the wires, through the appliance, and then back to the battery.
Because that's where it's coming from. That's where it's attracted to.
Yeah.
So that's its reference is back
And
to the
that
negative.
negative terminal on the
Yeah.
battery is connected to the chassis of the van, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So the negative is also the earth.
Yes.
So the van is your earth.
Yes. So in DC, ground or negative is earth,
Yeah.
if you don't want to call it.
Yeah.
In AC, you've got your live conductor, and then you've got your neutral conductor and earth conductor. Now the neutral and the earth are technically bonded, so it's one thing.
Now,
so if you could look at the live being the positive,
Yeah.
and the neutral being
Negative.
the negative.
Yeah. And this is a fact about the national grid that most people don't appreciate, that the neutral and the earth are linked together, aren't
They
they?
are, yeah, absolutely.
And this is important. So we're
It
going
is.
to come back
It's
to
very
this.
important.
So when I'm using a inverter. So I've got my 12-volt battery.
Yeah.
Never mind if it's lead acid or lithium. It's got a plus and a minus on it, a live and a neutral.
Yeah.
And I'm connecting that to an inverter, which is going to convert that 12-volt up to mains voltage.
That's right, yeah.
And on that inverter is a 3-pin socket, like I have at home. And I plug my kettle into it.
Yep.
Am I earthed?
Not really, no. So it depends on the setup in the vehicle, and it also depends on the inverter. Now, if we at BlueFix we fit Victron systems only, and this is one of the reasons why we do this. Is the Victron system has what's called a earth neutral bonding system. So when you turn the inverter on, it automatically connects the neutral from the inverter to the chassis earth on the inverter. That's a physical relay connection. So you get a connection between your neutral and your earth, and that means that's then connected to the vehicle chassis as well.
Right.
So it means that when you use your appliances, you've got some sort of monitoring on the chassis of the vehicle for an earth connection.
So where the confusion comes here is people misinterpret the word earth to mean planet Earth.
That's right, yes.
What we mean is the ground of the vehicle.
So the vehicle becomes the earth reference.
Right. And
so
this is important to know,
plane.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I know I'm on 4 tyres, it's still my earth.
It is. So the most important thing is that electricity is being generated in that vehicle. It's not being generated outside the vehicle.
Yeah.
So there's no reference plane to earth as in the ground outside.
Okay.
The reference plane is think of it as an aeroplane. In an aeroplane, AC is being generated at 115 volts. It's its own self-contained system. It doesn't touch the ground, but it's perfectly safe and it works perfectly well.
Okay.
Regardless.
No one gets electric shock.
No one gets electric shocks.
But I'm in my camper van.
Yeah.
And I'm running this electric kettle from this inverter.
Yeah. There
are no trips in this scenario. I've got battery, inverter, kettle. That's not clever, is it?
It depends on the system. So I think we need to clarify here between like a professionally installed proper system, which does go through all the RCDs and the protection in the vehicle.
So the RCD is the trip, the residual circuit.
Yeah, RCDs or
residual current detector, residual circuit breaker. We're going to cover these.
RCD, RCBOs. Yeah. So the trip. Yeah. So with the installations that we would do at BlueFix with Victron kit, it all runs through RCBOs, which means you're perfectly well protected if there's some problem going on, and it looks for an imbalance between neutral and live, and earth and live as well.
The big thing that you do is you go from battery to inverter.
Yep.
Via a trip.
Yep.
To the socket,
yeah,
to the appliance.
Correct.
And the risk is you can buy an inverter, can't you, that has 2 crocodile clips, you clip it on the battery, and it's got that 3-pin socket.
Yep.
You think, great, I can plug my appliance straight in.
Yeah.
You haven't got any protection.
No device protection. You've got overload protection with the fusing.
Okay, so if the inverter overloads, it will blow a fuse.
That's right. So if something goes wrong and short circuits.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if you were that short circuit, you would get a full electric shock,
and you've got to wait for that to fail before you stop getting electrocuted.
Yeah, and by that time you could be fatally injured.
Absolutely.
You see, because there's the overload, and you've got to wait for that overload to kick in. Yeah. Because there's no imbalance protection. There's no sort of very short circuit. An RCD in a house, or they're designed to I think it's 30 milliseconds. To stop that current working. So you don't really get a full electric shock. You get a tickle, and then the system goes pop, cuts the power.
Yeah, pretty quick.
Before you can have a problem with your heart, or for instance. So with that current protection or the imbalance protection, you get a full electric shock until it overloads.
Yeah, which could take
it could take
a minute, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could do. Yeah.
So. It's important we caveat this. This is not advice on how you should install your electric system. You would wish people to understand that every install is different.
It is. Every install is different, and it's important that if you've got any kind of unsurety, is go and get it protected. Go and get it looked at by a professional. Yeah,
and someone who actually understands. Yeah. Different types of trips.
Because as we're just understanding, people don't.
There's a scenario I want to give you, Mark, and we're going to scratch the surface of this. I want to take a portable power pack. So let's say EcoFlow.
They're one of many. Jackery, Bluetti, All Power. There's loads of them out there, aren't there? They're all over Amazon and other places for sale. And they are a brilliant solution to getting low voltage and mains voltage power into any environment, particularly a camper van. I was just, as I came down to the studio with your coffee, I bumped into a local converter of camper vans. And he says, all the time, Matt, we get people coming in saying, well, I'm just going to put a portable power pack in the van, and that's my power. Don't bother putting a big install in it. I want to save money. And he says, I tell them not to. And I tell them it's not safe. Now, we've spent 2.5 hours preparing for this conversation today, and this whole episode was meant to be on the safety and the reality of using a portable power pack in a van. And we've realised we're not ready to have that conversation. That actually we just disappear down lots of rabbit holes.
Yeah, we just unpacked a whole can of worms, didn't we?
We have. We are we're going to scratch the surface of this. So for the headline, we're going to come back to this.
Yeah.
I want to put a portable power pack in my van, which I do.
Which you do, yeah.
And I power my MacBook from it. Jude runs her hair straighteners on it. And we run maybe the coffee machine on it. But if I hook my van up from it, so I run a little adapter, the 3-pin plug, 16 amp socket, run the cable out the window and plug the van in. So I'm kind of replicating that I'm on a campsite, but I'm not. I'm actually connected to the portable power pack. We understand the scenario. What are the risks?
Again, it goes back to the overload protection and the earth, because there's no breaker on it, and the only protection you're going to get there is the fusing either in the adapter or the device itself.
So there is a fuse in that 3-pin plug.
But again, that's overload.
If it's a 13 amp fuse, that is a massive electric shock.
It is. It's a huge
before
amount.
That's going to blow.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to be dead before that.
Yeah, because it comes down to like resistance, and at the end of the day, I think we said it earlier, it was a big sack of wet meat, which takes a whole lot of current.
I've been called lots of things. A big sack of wet meat.
It's a whole lot of current that's going to absorb.
But that's what's going to happen, isn't it? So we plug my electric kettle into it, and it's gone dodgy. It's shorted out, and the metal on it is live.
Yeah.
What protection have I got if it's plugged into a portable power pack?
You don't have any, and it's like if you become the return path to neutral from that live.
So it goes through my arm.
Yeah.
And through my body.
Yeah, back into let's say the broken kettle, and you become that path. Then you get the shock.
Yeah.
So and
it could pass back into the kettle from my other finger, couldn't it?
Potentially, yeah. It depends what happens, but at the end of the day, there is no. I mean, it's a rare set of circumstances, but it could exist.
It is. I accept that. Yeah. I know. I'm not risk mongering here or scaremongering.
Yeah, no, but that it is the risk, and the risk is the thing.
But the point is, although I'm stood on the floor of the van, that portable power pack is double insulated, so you get those two squares, one inside the other.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen them, and it's a plastic box.
Yeah.
So we perceive that the power pack is safe because it's plastic. I'm not going to get a shock from the power pack, but it's not connected to earth.
It isn't.
So there is no earth, is there? There's no route through my feet back to it.
No, there isn't. But if you somehow in some situation become that return path, or if you can get between the sort of live and the neutral that's going back to the power bank, you're going to get that shock. And what we're going to try and unpack here is how do you build a system around that power bank that can make it safe?
Well, I've seen content online that says you need to link the earth and the negative wires together.
Yeah.
And we discussed this at length, and that means that in the scenario where your portable power packs run in the van, that would mean the trips in the van come to life.
Yeah.
Because the point is the trips aren't going to detect anything, are they, in this scenario?
No, they're not.
So we've realised that this is a far bigger conversation than we can have today. Yeah. So you have agreed, Mark, to go and build some scenarios, some trip units, different types of trip, a lead acid battery or lithium battery and a portable power pack powering those trips, and different appliances, and we're going to short some stuff out.
I think so, yeah.
And we're going to prove the point. We're going to test it and prove the scenario. And the idea of that episode, which we hope is going to come to you next week, we're going to record it live at the Stoneleigh show. We're going to do it live on stage, and we're going to bring it to you on the podcast. But what we're hoping to illustrate is the reality of the risk.
Yes.
And the scenario that you can work out is this my van? And then what you can do to mitigate that risk. That might mean seeing a professional electrician like Mark and the team at BlueFix to get that sorted. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. That's my advice. And if you're unsure, definitely go and seek professional advice, without a doubt. That has to be the case, doesn't it?
Yes.
But it's understanding the risks that we're putting ourselves under when we use what is perceived to be a very safe bit of kit, which is a portable power pack, because they are actually quite dangerous, aren't they?
It would seem so. Yeah, in that situation where you've got no real protection, then it could be quite a dangerous device.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're thinking, I'm going away this weekend and I'm taking the portable power pack, what would your advice be?
Be very careful.
Be very careful.
Be very careful.
My advice would be don't plan
do
to
it.
hook the van up.
Yeah.
That would be the starter for 10.
Yeah, don't put it through the vehicle's electrics. If you're going to boil a kettle from it, then do that directly to the unit. Don't put it through the vehicle's electrics, because you're not really getting any protection from there. We've seen people talk about the live and neutral. Neutral and earth link.
Yes.
I don't think that's a very safe option at all. I don't think it will do anything, especially with the older type of
let's look at
breakers.
that next week.
Yeah.
When we test this, because that used to fix this issue with some older style trips.
Yeah.
But newer motorhomes, I don't want to call them modern, but newer installs in motorhomes have a newer type of trip.
Yes.
Where that it's not affected.
No, that's right.
So at risk of getting a little bit techie next week, I want you to stick with us, because it's going to be very visual. So it's probably going to work better on YouTube than in audio.
Yeah, probably.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But we're recording this in March, so ahead of time. And we're going to come back to it. So by the time you see this, it will be a week later that we get this next episode, which will have been recorded live at the Stoneleigh show. If you're going to the Stoneleigh Warners show, you'll be able to see it recorded at the show. So Mark, where can people find out a little bit more about BlueFix if they've got questions in the meantime?
Yeah, we're on the web, on the internet, www.bluefix.co.uk.
Said like an old man. Well done. Bluefix.co.uk.
Actually, it should be HTTPS these days, shouldn't it? So you want to get technical.
I think if you search BlueFix on Google,
just
you'll
BlueFix
find
or
it.
Google. We're all over Google. We're all over YouTube, and Facebook and Instagram. So,
and I'm proud to say that BlueFix are Motorhome Matt approved, and Mark and his team are my go-to experts. Hence, Mark is here today. I'm often called an expert. This is not my area of expertise, and I know quite a lot about electrics. I'm not taking any risks with this.
No.
I'll let Mark do it instead.
Yeah, and that's why we want to hash it out and see what we get, because there's so much conjecture on this subject. As we found out today when we started to talk about it, and technology changes things as well.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
the different types of breakers, things like DC ripple, it's like, people think, what's that? Is that a thing? It's like, but
you're going to learn what DC ripple is next week,
you are,
I promise.
yeah.
But also, there's different standards, isn't there?
Yes.
Which are of the kit that's for sale that we can buy in these marketplaces, and it's delivered next day. But there are they all look great, but there's real risks to using it, isn't
Yeah, that's it. There is caveats, and the install, it's all important. I mean, say we use Victron specifically because we know we're protected from these issues when we use Victron kit.
Yeah.
It's because it has that ground relay, which is
because
all important.
It's all about the earthing.
It's
okay.
all about the earthing.
Right, Mark, thanks for coming in today.
You're most welcome.
I think it's been useful, and next week I'm excited to see if we can blow you up.
Yeah, indeed. Bang.
That's Mark Street. He's a director at BlueFix with his advice on earthing. The thing is with electricity, if you don't know anything about it, even if you know a little bit about it, it's very confusing what you should and what you shouldn't do, what are the dangers, what are the things you should ignore. So that's good advice that he's been giving there.
Well, yeah, and we probably started this episode with 10,000 people watching it, and there's now 5. It's really complicated. I hope we didn't lose you. If you're still with us, thank you.
But important.
It's crucial.
Yeah.
And the problem is, I've referred to it before, is the University of YouTube. And you get all these experts on there giving their opinions and their views. and this is often the case. The full picture is not being presented to you. So this is a massive topic. It's part of a broader topic that we're going to explore. And so, Mark, I'm very grateful to you for coming in and sharing your expertise with us. We will be discussing this in our Facebook group, Chat with Motorhome Matt. More details of that in a second. So jump into that Facebook group and let's continue the conversation there.
Yep, and stay grounded. Get it?
Boom.
Earth. Yeah. So thanks to Motorhome Matt approved BlueFix for their contribution this week at mhmp.info/BlueFix. That's mhmp.info/BlueFix. It's the Motorhome Matt podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And me, Motorhome Matt.
It's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Get 15% off your premium with Ripe. The discount applies automatically if you click the link in the episode description.
First of all, Patrick Kine in Colford, the Forest of Dean, has been in touch. Matt, just listen to your reply to my question, the cat pee smell that he has in the cab of his motorhome.
This was a few weeks ago,
and he couldn't track it down. He says, no, it's not a wind-up, because you did accuse him of winding this up. And I had a feeling, as I said at the time, that he was telling the truth. It's not a wind-up. We do have a cat pee pong in the van. Thanks for your suggestions. It is beginning to subside, so it could have been rat or mice pee, I suppose. A great podcast that I listen to every week. Patrick, thank you very much, even though he smells of wee.
Well, he doesn't. His Cartago does.
Hey!
There was, and he wondered if it was the catalytic converter.
Oh!
So yeah, Patrick, sorry if I accused you of trying to wind us up. It does happen from time to time, and we were concerned you'd slip through the net with your question. So I'm glad though it started dying down. We did have. The smell has started dying down, that is. We had a comment on the episode from London-Q4I. What a catchy name. Who said, I had a cat pee smell on my van. It turned out it came from the screen wash bottle. Drained it and cleaned it all out. Problem solved.
Boom, boom.
Now, you're famous for this, aren't you?
I am, yes. I once, a car years ago, filled up my screen wash bottle from the water butt in the front garden. And, well, it stank. And I had to go and get the strongest, not bleach, but a liquid from a supermarket and popped it in there just exclusively, and that got rid of it. But it did stink. The thing is, water from the tap, we take it for granted in this country, less so than we used to, is clean and bacteria free, but even a little bit of bacteria starts to grow in the warmth of an engine bay, doesn't it? And it stinks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you've had a smell of cat pee in your van, will you let us know, and then we can pass on what it was to Patrick.
But for the moment, we're going to draw a lion under this.
Draw a line.
Lion.
A lion.
It's a cat.
Next.
Oh, taxi. Sam is in Cannock.
Hi Matt, it's Sam here in Cannock, Staffordshire, and hello to Keith, as I know he doesn't like being left out. Just like to touch base on a couple of things that I'm a bit worried about. We're going off to Europe in a few weeks, in beginning of May, for 5 weeks. I just wondered if you could answer a couple of questions. It's reference the the toll, the Easy Flow toll, where they're doing away with a lot of the major road toll booths. Which is this going to be putting people off, do you think, on going on tolls, as they're scared of having to go online and pay? Because whereas a lot of older people, they like to stop at the toll road, and now it's paid. Or, is it going to be as it should be? The other thing is basically the fuel. Obviously, I don't know where this is going to lead to, but obviously at this moment in time, we were away last week in Gambia, and we heard the fuel had shot through the roof up to 20p a litre, and there's a lack of it as well. I was wondering how this may affect us all going to Europe in the future, and if you could find out any more information about it. And anyway, I'll let you go. Thanks for your help, and speak to you soon.
Cheers, Sam. Thanks for the chat.
Sam.
Yeah, Sam's in Cannock. So, can you help him out?
Yeah, absolutely. This is Sam's talking about Easy Flow, which is a change to the toll booths in Europe and Ireland, actually. So basically, the toll booths have been got rid of in a bid to make traffic flow better and reduce CO2 emissions. So you're not slowing down and then pulling away again. There's a number of systems. Bip and Go is one. Emovis is another, where basically you pre-register your vehicle, so your number plate. If you change your number plate, you've got to go and change it on your account. Remember this, and it's probably the most convenient method because they send you a tag which you attach to your windscreen. It's automatically read by overhead gantries as you go through the toll, and then the fees are paid straight to your bank account or to your Emovis account as you go. But the important thing is to register for it online. You can do that. There's loads of information online about this at the moment. Sanef, SANEF.com is one. That will sort you out for the A13 and the A14 down through France, or eFlow for the M50 in Ireland. And you link your licence plate, your number plate, and then payment is automated during the trip or after the trip. If you haven't got a profile, you must remember, and this is where people are going to get caught out, you must log on within 72 hours of you going through that toll, or by 8 p.m. the following day, and that's for the M50 in Ireland, and go and pay. And I think the issue is that it's change, and we don't like change as a community. But you can understand why they're doing it. The idea is to make your trip smoother, quicker, and cleaner. That's the key, and less CO2 emissions, which has to be a good idea. I mean, this automated routing for us is got to be quicker and easier, and no doubt going to get more expensive. But there we are. That's my cynical view. In terms of fuel, blimey, I've just paid £1.89.9 for a litre of diesel. I didn't even fill the van up, and I got to 160 quid. And okay, we're on the motorway, but I know the owner of our local fuel station, and the day after the war was announced with Iran, his fuel price went up by 20p a litre.
Strange that, isn't it?
And I said, surely you haven't taken delivery of surcharged fuel already? No. He went, no, of course not. I said, well, why have you put the price up? He said, well, so I make 2 or 3p at best per litre profit on fuel. And he's got a big supermarket as well next to the fuel station. And I said, well, why have you put the price up now then? It's your customers. I'm in here every day. He went, sod 'em.
Really?
Yeah, and he just wanted the margin on the fuel. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to name the fuel station, but of course, then the petrol retailers were all dragged into number 10, weren't they? And accused of doing this, which they actively denied.
Well, they were read the Riot Act, and I think they will, change their behaviours in the future because they've been threatened, I think, with legislation if they don't.
Absolutely, and frankly, I think they should get it. I mean, how can you deny it's going on? Just look at the fuel totem pole. Look at the numbers. They've gone up. So will this have an impact, Sam, on European travel? It might do, and I guess it might make people think more about what it's going to cost to go any journey, even staying in the UK. But hopefully fuel will come back down in price at some point. But will it? What's your view? Do you think fuel is going to come back down?
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens around the world. It could do, it might not do. But one thing, don't become one of these people who spends £1 searching for a petrol station to save you 10p.
No, that's very true.
There's plenty of those around. And by the way, just talking about Sam's comments about older people, the older people now are the Beatles generation, the people who bought the Beatles records, who bought colour TVs, who changed the world. And so if you're one of these older people who says, I don't do computers, you get no sympathy from me, mate.
It's no excuse. No. I agree. It's no excuse at all. Get online. Come on. Grow up.
Elaine Brown's in Weston-super-Mare. Hi, Matt. Loving the podcast. I have learned so much from you and Keith, who doesn't like being left out. My husband was in the pub the other day, and a friend mentioned that when driving in France, you have to take 2 breathalyzers with you. Is that true?
No. You don't even need to take one.
When I went to France, I took 2 breathalyzers with
Why?
me a couple of years because I read online that you should have them in your kit in the bag.
Right. Well, I may be wrong here, but my understanding is this is no longer a legal requirement in France. So breathalyzers were introduced by the French, promptly ignored by the French, and then abolished by the French.
As they said, Zoudolo.
Yeah. And the only people that seem to care about them were us Brits. You're probably getting more trouble for carrying an out-of-date breathalyzer than not carrying one at all. The law was changed in 2020 and fines for not having one were scrapped. However, keeping disposable breathalyzers in your vehicle is probably still recommended by us here and many safety organisations, simply due to the fact that French's drink drive limit is much lower than here in the UK. So they are very, very strict about it. And if you're one of those people that goes to the pub, has a pint, and you know you're under the limit, maybe you've been caught and you've been tested, you could fall the wrong side of that limit in France. So carrying a breathalyzer that's in date might be a good idea if you are prone to a small drink before you drive the car. My advice is don't do it. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Simple. Then there's no question.
Just don't drink anything.
Do you need to take 2 with you from Weston-super-Mare, that pub, to France? No, you don't.
How do people get in touch?
We would love it if you did. Just head to mhmp.info/Ask Matt. You can fill in the form and we'll read it for you, or you can record it on the orange button, check it before you send it, and please tell us where you are and submit it and we'll play you in.
Tell us about your new Facebook group then, Matt.
Yeah, it's called Chat with Motorhome Matt, a great and safe place to discuss the podcast or post your own topic. Maybe you've got a question or query, and there's a community of people. There's nearly 2,000 people in it already, and no self-promotion, no advertising. Really important. You can find out more about it at mhmp.info/chat.
And if you're looking for trusted brands and services, then make sure you visit the Motorhome Matt approved directory. It's at mhmp.info/approved.
And remember to follow on your favourite podcast app, or if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe and the little bell.
And it's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Oh, damn it. I've been looking for that every episode, and the one time I don't, it's there. Do it again.
Life goes on day after day.